Hi guys, I'm Andrea McKinnon and this is the Codex Club YouTube channel. I normally make a lot of videos about my clothing and home goods and jewelry and accessories boutique, but I also do videos about my family and just my life and what's going on. I'm taking a break from my pregnancy series videos to do this get to know you one because I actually really love the get to know me tag and seeing what other people are doing on YouTube, who they are, and their stories. So I hope that you guys like my video today. Please like, comment, subscribe so we can be friends here. And yeah, I basically just Googled like get to know me tag questions, and the number one thing is a link from YouTube Society. So it's 30 questions and I'm gonna just get through them as fast as possible. And if it's going well, I'll like maybe do some of these extra questions that they provide at the bottom. Oh, isn't this pretty? So this is like the anchor necklace. I don't know if it's like focusing, but like you can buy it at thecodexclub.com if you search anchor. Sorry, it just looked extra sparkly. Okay, so let's start this, right? Number one, where did you grow up? And you can tell like I haven't formulated answers to these. I haven't even looked at the questions because I'll probably be stumbling along, but I'm doing my best. I'm trying my hardest, okay? Where did I grow up? So this is actually a harder question than it would be for people who grew up in like one town and that was it their whole life, you know? And so this seems like a simple one, but like it's not for me. So I grew up in mostly, I would say my formative years were in Texas. But I was born in Pennsylvania, very close to where my husband was born actually, Allentown. So it's kind of funny that we live in Baltimore now and Bethlehem Steel is still like, you know, such a big part of like the culture here, even though it closed. And so for his family to all be in like Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and his mom to have worked at the Bethlehem Steel there is just kind of a cool little parallel. Anyway, I moved away from Pennsylvania when I was like still a baby, so I didn't know my husband then, but I grew up in, I just think it's like kind of nice, but we lived in New Hampshire for a while. My sister was born there. Massachusetts before that actually, which is where my brother was born. And around like puberty, like I think I got my, sorry if this is TMI, but I got my period on the way down to Texas, which is where I would then go to finish middle school and experience high school for the first time. And then I ended up like asking my voice teacher please to like film this audition tape. I was doing some acting and performing and I just really knew Houston wasn't the best place for me at that time. I went to a very science and engineering type high school, and so I got this scholarship through my teacher's tape to go to a performing arts boarding high school and lived there, made some of my best friends in my life at Walnut Hill School in Massachusetts before going to New York for college, legitimately meeting my husband there and like living there for 10 years before I moved to Baltimore, which is where I'm at now. Long story, see, sorry, but like that's the short version, while being really truthful and not leaving the important stuff out, right? Number two, where do you currently live? So we'll save some time on this because I already said it, but I live in Baltimore, Maryland, and I really love it here. Number three, who is your first best friend? I think my very first best friend had to have been in Massachusetts, and no, it was a girl named Lauren who was homeschooled, and we would write letters together after my family moved. She was really sweet. She was the first person I ever saw paint nails with me. I couldn't do it because my mom like wouldn't allow me to, but her nails looked really good. And then I think like there was also a best friend named Jenna Grauer Gray who was super cool, and we would bike to the library together. She was like my neighbor. And then I think my I can't remember like who was the first, so I'm just naming my top 3. That was in Massachusetts, and then Anna Paratori was I thought my best friend in Merrimack, New Hampshire. We used to do little drawings together, and anyway, she's really cool. That's probably the only friend who I still like look up and have been able to find on social media and like keep in touch with. Number 4, how tall are you? I am 5'4". 5, dogs or cats? So I love dogs, and I like really want a dog, but I will say cats only because I just happen to have had one, and it's not like I picked getting a cat over a dog. It's just that like living in New York, like as a college student, you see mice and rats everywhere, and I was getting really freaked out in my tiny little apartment because I saw mice. So I got a cat, and I thought again like I was a dog person, but this cat just like stole my heart. She was my best friend for those 10 years I was there. She really acted like a dog. Like I trained her to always come when I said like a certain word, because that's when she would get fed. And I lost her in an airport one time and like said mama, and she like came running because, you know, she'd gotten out of her carrier and she was freaking out. Anyway, so I guess cats only because I haven't had a dog yet, but I think I would love probably both equally. Number 6, funniest moment throughout high school. So I have this really visceral memory of just being pranked really heavily. This like tail end of high school, like when you're starting to like get, like I was always kind of an emo high school kid, but like right before we graduated, I was just getting really sad that we were all gonna get split up and go to different parts of the US and like study different things. And I was really nervous because seniors had to do this like walkthrough of their studios where anybody in the school could come in and see your space and like look at all your paintings and like everything you'd been working on and your whole portfolio to get into college. Anyway, so my friends knew how like sensitive and like emo I was being. They went out to there was like this town playground, I guess, behind the school, and I guess they were throwing away like different like toy equipment. So they got this little like rocking horse that I guess the little kids used to like play on, and they like somehow brought it up into my studio and like left it there, and didn't tell me about it, wanted to surprise me, but like my teachers found it before I did, because of this like senior studio walkthrough. And I remember like feeling so embarrassed and like, oh my god, like am I gonna flunk because there's this piece of trash, like but they loved it, and actually like it added something to the studio to have this like beautiful like toy horse in the corner, like a found art piece, I guess. And I was so grateful actually that they thought of me and that they wanted to do something symbolic, I guess, for us. And years later, I think like at our 10-year, right before our 10-year reunion, my friend Jenny and I went back to visit our old studios and see our old art teacher, and that horse was still there, and they were using it as like a life studio drawing. So the teachers like hadn't thrown it out, and the students are still using it to draw and like, you know, inspire their artwork. And I just thought like how cool that that like lasted longer than us, and that it was like this really beautiful thing that like shouldn't have been thrown away, and like I got to be the reason that the school got that. Anyway, so that was my funniest moment through high school because it was potentially embarrassing and then it wasn't. Is that funny? What year were you born? This is number 7. I was born in 1988, year of the dragon, if you're Chinese. Number 8, are you in / have you gone to college? Yeah, I went to Parsons, the new school for design, which is in New York, and I studied graphic design from 2006, and then I graduated 2010. Number 9, what is your favorite drink? I love juice, like a lot, and especially being pregnant, I like every meal. I feel like I crave some sort of like lemonade or orange juice. When I was younger, it was so bad that the dentist said that my enamel was thinning because like clearly I was drinking a lot of juice and the citric acid wasn't good. So I really do love juice. No specific brand. Number 10, what is your spirit animal and why? So I think you're supposed to actually get like a shaman to do this for you, but if you are curious and just type it into Google and take a test, I think I got swan once and then I got wolf. So I think like under swan it was because like they really love beautiful things and are graceful and kind, and I think wolf is just like really protective and loyal, so who knows, but that's what I got. Number 11, you're wearing perfume, what scent is it? So I'm not wearing perfume right now, but I really like this line called Diptyque. Oh my gosh, I said it weird, but it's Diptyque, which is like when two pieces of art are meant to be seen together to create a whole, and I just thought that was really romantic because my husband actually gave me this perfume for my birthday like 5-6 years ago, and I only wear it on special occasions. It's got like green tea and jasmine in it. It's the Olean scent by Diptyque. So it's kind of unisex, like because it's mostly like a clean tea, like jasmine thing. It's not like super floral. But yeah, it's kind of sweet. I like it. It's very fresh. Number 12, tea or coffee? Oh, I'm like addicted to coffee so badly. I love coffee. I used to not. Like, I didn't grow up drinking coffee and my parents weren't big coffee drinkers. So, you know, if you don't grow up with it like in the house in the morning, like it's not as big of a craving maybe for people. I can only assume. But when I got into, I guess, the later part of high school, like when tests were really stressful, I would like try those Starbucks Frappuccino like from the store, Kroger's drinks. And then in college in New York, like, you know, they have these breakfast carts everywhere that sell like $1 coffees that are like pure gasoline. They go straight to your veins. You just feel it immediately and you're just crazed and you don't know if it's like the teaspoons of sugar they put in or the actual caffeine. So I think New York made me like a coffee addict, and I would drink a cup of the breakfast cart coffees in the morning, and then I would get a refill of whatever was in the office that I could make. I think Maxwell was my favorite brand at around 3 or 4 when I was starting to crash. Now that I've been pregnant, I'm switching to teas. Like, haven't been drinking a lot of coffee at all. No coffee at all. But like a little bit of green tea now and then. I had some chai recently, and like mint tea and peach tea, that kind of thing. Lots of honey. Number 13, what are your life goals? So it's really important to me, I think, to leave something behind, and I think there are 2 ways to have a really purposeful life. One is to do something with your work and like your passion that lasts longer than you. You know, like if you die, like maybe your art still exists, or your book, or your philosophies. The second way is to have a kid, because literally these are 2 things that will live forever beyond you and like be you like after you're gone. So I don't know, I think my life goals are to make a difference that's bigger than me, and to pay it forward, you know, have kids, and sorry, the battery died. So number 13, what are your life goals? It's to leave something behind that's bigger than me. If I didn't have a kid, I would still want to like pay it forward and like teach somehow. So yeah, do things that are bigger than you. Number 14, what sports do you play or have you played? So I played soccer for like 2 games and got a black eye and just never felt motivated enough to do it again. I guess I've played a little bit of like, no, what am I saying? I can't even like legitimately say I've played a sport. Sorry. I think I'm pretty active, but I'm just not like very competitive. I don't know. Even video games don't really interest me very much. Like people get very into it. I'll get into like board games, you know, but there's just something about competition or aggression in other people that I like. I don't know. Although I love watching like my husband play rugby, I think that's really attractive. Okay, I don't know what all that means, but number 15, have any books you read changed your life? Yeah, I think so. When I was in high school, one of my best friends, Gloria, gave me a book called The Prophet by Kahlil Gibran, and I thought he was just such a beautiful poet and writer and human. C.S. Lewis has been somebody really, really inspiring and super smart. Not just his Chronicles of Narnia books, which I think most people know about, but he wrote things like The Meaning of Marriage, The Four Loves. I think that like, yeah, C.S. Lewis is by far one of the more influential authors of my like adult life. And I also really like this one preacher named Tim Keller, who also is from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and he wrote some really great things too. So number 16, what is your favorite movie? I have a bunch of favorite movies, but I think my favorite ones are Say Anything with John Cusack and Ione Skye. It was just something really relatable. It's, a lot of people say it's like a real love story, but like I thought that, you know, it was. And no, who can forget John Cusack with the boombox outside her window? Like, he's never been more attractive than in that movie, unless you like High Fidelity. I also really loved Blade Runner. It's the only movie that I've ever bought on iTunes, and I watch it over and over. It's so beautiful, so dystopian. It's the one with Harrison Ford. Sorry, I'm just realizing now that people might confuse this with the Ryan Gosling one. The original Blade Runner, where you see there's like this one shot where this blonde guy is like standing in the rain talking about existence and like, you know, belonging and like the soul, and just, it's so beautiful. The rain is coming down on him and there's just like red and blue and that's it, and this like bone structure. Anyway, favorite movies, Say Anything and Blade Runner. I guess I also like The Princess Bride. I think that's a really like cute, sweet movie with lots of quotables. Oh, above all of them though is The Secret Garden, that was produced by Francis Ford Coppola. I think it came out in 1994. That actually is not only the most beautiful, quotable, and formative movie. Like, whenever I have a really bad day, my husband will put this movie on and we will watch it, and I know all the lines, all the little sounds that they've put in like Foley, and like all the music, like when you just like see the garden flourishing and it's like da, 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 da. Just best movie, Secret Garden, actually. All the others are great and favorites, but like that one will like take me somewhere. It's how I view life, actually. Number 17, who are your favorite YouTubers? So I follow a few favorite YouTubers. Right now I'm like addicted to watching Tana Mongeau. I just think that she's had such an interesting life, and I guess I was getting married at the same time that she had her wedding to Jake Paul. So to see how that kind of played out and what her life is like now, like I just found myself very interested in that, you know. Plus to be very successful and to I guess have this very loyal following. I don't know, she's just interesting and still very young and beautiful. So she's my favorite YouTuber right now. But I also follow a bunch of like mom YouTubers and like Asian beauty YouTubers. Can't think of names right now. 18, do you speak any languages and how well? I mean, I speak English and I do speak some Chinese. On our honeymoon, if you check out the honeymoon playlist, you'll see like we go to Taiwan and it's like the first time I ever got to go. And there were moments where I was speaking Chinese again. It was like riding a bicycle, like that part of my brain just activated again. And I once heard that the language you dream in is your actual language. So for me, that hasn't been Chinese most of my life. You know, I was born here in the United States, but growing up so close to my parents and my grandparents who spoke Chinese around me, I think that like just seeing them again, like triggered that, and being around everybody speaking it, like just made me want to, like I can understand it and I can speak it. I have kind of an accent. And I'm out of practice. Number 19, are you single or taken? I think I am the most taken you can possibly be. Sorry. Number 20, what is your idea of your dream date? I like the idea of just exploring with your partner. So even if it was very early on or you think you know them really well, I feel like my ultimate idea of fun is like not having to plan a lot and being able to have a completely different experience than you normally would. So getting in your car and just driving with them is like my ultimate fantasy. Like you don't know where you're gonna end up, but you trust this person, you trust you to like be capable enough to handle whatever happens. You know, if you see this cool restaurant or this great like store on the way, like that's so exciting to me. And that adventure and the experiences that you guys are gonna have, just the two of you. You don't need to go on a fancy dinner. I don't need like gifts or like to see a movie. Like let's live the movie. Do you know what I mean? So that's my dream date. Just getting in a car and driving somewhere. And some of those have been my favorite memories. It's just like, yeah. 21. How long was your longest relationship? So this is my longest relationship so far. I was like friends with Mark when we were 18. I met at our first college party. Of course, you know, I dated other people because we were friends first, but I would say when we officially started dating, even then it's still like the longest relationship. How would you describe your fashion sense? I don't try enough. I think and I shouldn't say that because I own a clothing store, but my favorite style icons are sort of effortless style. So like Kate Moss, Sienna Miller, these kind of boho chic, like effortless fashionable ladies, like have always been ones that inspired me more than like someone who has a huge, like you can tell, budget, and you know what I mean. It's just not easy to relate to. It's not easy for other girls to afford, and so I always wanted to project something that was like approachable and yet interesting and beautiful, that like suited my figure and where I was in life. I also like am always running around and I get things dirty a lot, so I hated really falling in love with like a hoodie or a shirt and then having it be super expensive and ruined and like not be able to replace it easily. 23, what is your go-to hairstyle? I like this, just like down, maybe like a little bit curled if it was up in a ponytail before. When I'm feeling like the pressure's on and I really need to focus, like you'll know because I put my hair in a messy bun and get it done, you know, and like that's my second favorite hairstyle, so you get 2. 24, how many siblings do you have? 2. I was the first pancake, the one where you test out the heat in the pan, and so my brother is the middle child. He's 2 years younger than me, and I have a little sister named Emily who is 6 years younger than me, and I'm very proud of them both. I think that in some ways like they're more mature and more cool than me. My brother's taller than me, so sometimes they think he's older. And he manages people at his job and is awesome and responsible, and My sister works at Google currently and is living her best life in San Francisco. 25, what is your go-to fast food order? So I actually keep in my notes app like different lists of what to order at different fast food restaurants, and I get the ideas just from YouTube or articles. So at McDonald's recently I got a Shamrock Shake, the filet of fish, and then the McDoubles that are like 2 for $3. Love those, classic, but I don't eat McDonald's enough to really like, you know, utilize that. I guess does Chipotle count as fast food? I usually get a chicken burrito with guacamole and brown rice, and I can't think of any other fast food that I eat lately. I love Taco Bell, the Dorito Crunch Supreme whatever's, like those are really good. It's been a long time though. And I really liked Bojangles like chicken wraps with like their hash browns. I don't know if I'm saying any of this right because it's been so long, but they've got the crunchiest, yummiest little breakfast hash browns. Okay, 26. Do you use PC or a Mac? I'm a Mac girl. I used to be, like, the very first computer we ever got when you had to like call the internet and it was still the 90s was a PC that my entire family shared in a separate room of the house. So if anybody wanted the computer, like you basically had to like reserve a time. And then when I got to college, like at art school, you are required to get a Mac. And I loved the user friendliness of it all, and yeah, I still have a Mac today. 27, your most memorable vacation memory. I think the first cruise I ever went on with Mark and his family right after he graduated University of Maryland's grad program, that was like the best vacation memory, because similar to how like my high school memories were like right at the end of high school, I felt like this was such a great like way to celebrate him finishing his studies, but it also was like the start of us building our life together. We knew we were gonna move in together like right after we came back from the cruise. It was the first time I was spending a significant amount of time with his family, so I was really nervous. And yeah, for the first time I got to really hang out outside the US and like see all sorts of tropical islands. Yeah. So that wasn't just one memory, that was a lot of memories. Maybe sitting on these deck chairs that we weren't supposed to out in St. Lucia on the cruise. That was like a beautiful memory. I should have made my desktop screensaver that, you know, it was so nice. 28, what are your morning, evening routines? I should make separate videos for this. So like my morning routine is very quick. I get up early, try to stick with the routine, especially now working from home. And my evening routines are a lot more complicated because that's when I take my comfort very seriously. I'm not raring to go anywhere and I'm just like settling down for the night. So I'll get into those in separate videos in the future, but yeah. 29, do you have any bad habits? Yeah, I mean, I think we all do, and I try to be my best self, but I definitely have a sweet tooth. I love ice cream and cake and all the bad things, and now and then I can get a little protective over the people I care about. So if my friend has broken up with somebody and they did her wrong, like I will unfortunately like get really angry with them, and once or twice have sent like angry Facebook messages at the guys. And you know, I'm sure that like Mark, my husband, sometimes thinks I'm like extra vigilant when we go out, because I just, it's not that I don't trust him, but I don't trust other women, because if they felt how I felt, like even a glimpse, like just, you know. So those are my bad habits. 30. Oh, and a lot of that has to do with like being hurt a lot in the past. I have to kind of disclaim, like, I don't think my character was always that way, but I think just like trauma makes you more grateful for what you have and protective. So I'll just say that. 30, tell us one thing about you that we wouldn't know. I don't think everybody would know like that I grew up in like 5 different places and never lived anywhere longer than like half a decade, until Baltimore. You know, like my dad's job took us to a lot of places. That's why that very first question at the start of this video was so hard for me. And for the very first time, I feel like living in one home that is owned and that I can like hang pictures up at it just means so much. So people might not realize that I didn't really feel like I had a home until now. But yeah, I don't know, I'm having fun. Maybe I'll pick like a few from these extra. We got through 30, but I'll go through some of these extra questions and just see. Yeah, let's see. What is your favorite genre of film and why? I like this question as somebody who technically has an Oscar. It's Boyhood for Best Cast. But I think my favorite genre of film is, and I forget the term for it, but it's the one where a woman has been wronged and like left for dead, and she usually has had some sort of sexual assault or rape, and so she gets like to justify killing the people who wronged her. So usually it does really well in box offices because you get the sex part of it, but also like you get the redeeming gross violence part of it. Kill Bill is a good example. Yeah, I like those. They're satisfying. That's my favorite genre of film, simply because I think it's really smart and it's a formula that works. My dream job as a kid, I'll answer that, and that'll be the last one. What? I always wanted to be a librarian when I was a kid because I liked the idea of putting little codes in all of my favorite books and making people log in like the back page, like who they were when they read it, and like I had like a little pretend stamp in our home library. Like I wrote fake codes on the back of all of our books and like had little cards and asked people to check out the books. And I would stamp them and tell them that they were gonna, you know, need to come back in a week or it'd be late. So yeah, librarian. I also wanted to be a vet because I really wanted to take care of animals at one point, but I think you could have like mentored an actual vet, and my dad said I'd need to like see her put down animals potentially, and I like couldn't do it. I was so young, so yeah, no vet. But those are the answers to my get to know you tag questions. I hope you guys liked it. Please like, comment below if you like any of my answers, or if you've watched any of these movies, or you know, done the tag yourself. I hope it inspires you to participate and to yeah, follow my channel. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the next video next week.